group in Buganda were also made by remnants of a 1950 outfit called Kirimuto. Translated in good Luganda means that it is only the pregnant woman who knows the responsible man. Others first see it. 2. Old political order. The 1989 elections that expanded the NRC had helped the members of the old political parties DP and UPC to dominate the district elected councils, including Kampala district. This prompted an arrogant attitude from the DP leaders that they were capturing NRM. Museveni had also dominated his first cabinet with DP leaders. The first NRM government was dominated by DP politicians. Dr. Semogere, who had earlier joined Lutwa's government, became Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs. He had served as Lutwa's Minister of Internal Affairs under Paul Mwanga, who in 1980 issued the proclamation number 10 that stopped any other institution, including the Electoral Commission, to announce the 1980 results. Mwanga usurped the powers of the Electoral Commission, and it was his office which announced the results, not the Electoral Commission mandated under the law. Contravening Mwanga's proclamation would attract a fine of 10 million shillings or 6 months in jail or both. I vividly remember that fearing to face those punitive measures, Mono newspaper where I worked had gone to bed with a DP victory story, but hurriedly burnt all the copies before taking them to the streets. Even outspoken prelate of the Catholic Church, who was among the first registered voters to cast a vote, Cardinal Emmanuel Nsubuga, did not make any comment about the election results. Back to the DP ministers Museveni appointed, they included Mrs. Victoria Sekitoliko and Robert Kitaliko, both in agriculture, John Sebana Kizito, Gerard Sendaula, Everest Nyanzi, Ponsiano Mulema, Dr. Semogere's young brother, John Batume Kawanga, Kafumbe Mukasa, and many others. Therefore, it took time for ordinary people to know whether it was a DP government or an NRM government. The NRM strategy was to gain legitimacy and acceptance by using the DP leadership in the short run, as it trained its own cadres to establish a stronger political base. Yes, this was achieved, but by 1996, DP structures were still strong. Secondly, this history of DP shows that its official branches are the Catholic Church parishes. This is how Obote failed to undermine it. In 1969, Obote banned DP and declared a single-party dictatorship. However, in 1980, the Bandi party bounced back stronger and more vigorous than when it was officially banned in 1969. In the early 60s, when Mengo tried to undermine DP, the leader of the Catholic Church, Archbishop Joseph Chiwanuka, came out and reduced the battle between him and Kabaka Mutesa too. This explains why the Catholic Church took Kabaka Mutesa too. The 1989 legislative elections were based on the county level. In Buganda, counties used to be big political units. Buganda Kingdom had only 20 big counties. Take, for example, Bukoto County, which was later curved into 6 constituencies. However, in 1989, it was represented by one person. Such a big area required huge financial resources and a well-known personality or one with an organization network like religion or party. Thus, the new political order had revived the Kabaka Yeka sentiments when the NRM government was forced to recognize Kabaka Mutebi as the new king. Since the NRM had no clear position on the future of the abolished Buganda Kingdom, it lost the leading role. The Kabaka Yeka remnants took over. They mobilized the people against the government, and the NRM leaders lost the leading role and became reactive to demands. Sensing that the NRM had lost the control, Kabaka Mutebi relied on the Kabaka Yeka remnants to exert pressure on the government to make concessions to Mengo. Mutebi revived the Buganda Lukiiko, which took advantage of the poor approach by government on Buganda issues to discredit Museveni that he was breaking a commitment on the Bush Agreement about federal. The Gulibo Baganda were incited against Museveni that he was reneging on his war pledge to grant Buganda federal. With their paragraph in Doza. With their usual intimidating skills, the KY Ruminants created a big anti-Museveni bloc in Buganda, where he lacked a strong team to counter this YK group. It is therefore not surprising that the Buganda Lukiiko, which under the constitution is only a cultural institution with no political and judicial powers, has taken a leading role in all subsequent elections. During 1996 elections, the Lukiiko passed a resolution declaring Dr. Semogere as the sole Buganda candidate. Many Mengo ministers were part of Semogere's campaign intrigue. The then Katikiro Joseph Murwanyamuli Semogere declared that a mother goat cleans its newly born with its tongue, meaning that Buganda should vote their own. Catholic priests used the podium to campaign for Dr. Semogere. The Kabaka Eka Ruminants came up with their slogan of Sirwajo Quota, referring to Museveni as a foreigner in Buganda.
Echimpande sobutawo bwango likodis nti yesu nti ebyofuzi bigenda lebidda nti abakulembeze biseere bisinga obungi gavumenti zaabwe bazisuula mu byokuzannya. Habyarimana yagaana abanyarwanda okudda ewaabwe n'abagaa nti nezzika erimu eriri mu Akagera National Park lisinga abanyarwanda 10 abaddayo. Abasajja ne bamugaa nti owaayi tuli cognizing otuwe passport nti apaana ani abawa passport mmwe. Kakati mbagamba bulijjo ti Habyarimana najja akola ensobi nakwata milioni za $2 naziwa omukuba jeno ba Uganda batemule Rwejema ne badduka mu South ne bamobilizingira mu Northern Uganda gye baava ne balumba Rwanda. Atoka kananga Habyarimana wali just a small mistake. These people initially the Banyarwanda didn't want to go back. Nega Habyarimana yakiriza okuteesa nabo ensonga y'okudda ewaabwe yafuuka namba 10 bamukolera 10 points program. Agandi akuddayo si kyekizibu buliko kondisoni bwavu obuli e Rwanda. Moi mu 83 yekyusa constitution ya Kenya nefuuka ya kibiina kimu ng'alowooza nti bonna ajja banyigira mu kibiina omwo. Beya makadi baakiyiwa. Beya makadi simple matter. Beya makadi wena nabafugiramu kati nembalaga nti polisi wa Uganda Buganda ezekyusa agandi mu 8 yali ya DP ena ali mu bwe yajja ne council yaayo National Reserve Council yava nayo mu nsiko bwe bateekawo okulonda mu 89 DP yawamba ekikoza district zonna kuba gye baali bamanyiwozi the most outstanding party at that time. Bwe tutwaddamu 2-1 ena ali mu nejja kakati kababa tutte Buganda bagitutte. Why is Buganda contentious? Buganda is contentious because many leaders make a mistake. Nebalooza nti Mmengo efuga Abaganda. You police Mmengo is like a police get the generals and the sergeant does overthrow you. Abaganda ali bategeera tali kwata ku informal sector. Tokwata ku taxi, tokwata ku botale, tokwata ku nyanja, tokwata ku lufula. Namagendo kawo. Do you think it Abaganda bagala nnyo bifo mu government? Babifune muki?
Nampulira babikaya.
No, don't affairs. A failed Muganda looks for a job in the government.
Pulira babikaya njati bawadde kimala.
Kirumira omwobwa minister.
Abo balala ate.
Yachinkubulira Mirundi omwobwa minister. Mirundi agala obwa minister.
Waliwo kirasa ebyagala.
Mirundi agala obwa minister. I want my freedom. Kubanchi manyi nti wa minister ajja kujja defending ebintu ngababye sente balala. Muganda a failed Muganda yayagala obwa minister yayagala ebitiibwa. A successful Muganda yagala kwekolera bibye. Igwe tokwata ku informal sector. Boloza obata ku lutalo yalumaze emyaka 5. Niyo manyi obutalo bwali wano. Ewaluka echa wano paka empya. Wali kugundi kugaza tewali wakatale. Wani wakirumira tunudde mu paka tewali wakatale. Ku California nkadde tewali wakatale. Obutale bwali mu Uganda nga abantu bakola sawa mukaga ne banyuka. Nete muyinza kulumba buli omu wonna ne mulumba takisi ne mulumba bugundi ne mulumba obutale ne mulumba kibona bonna n'omusenyu gw'omulwera abaana basombanga omusenyu nawo ne mugabbanga muyise mbachina ne bateekawo omukyere ettaka ne muba evikitinga Museveni yesebadde mwagalanya muteringe akatambi kaliwa
akatambi kubakandaze wannaye
kibagamba okumbubbula
kazannyamu wali
bagamba okumbubbula banne bambubbula ekiro ng'abantu bawuliddeko nti bagenda kumbubbula
kakati waliwo wano ekintu kyensomye mu katabo kano katulabe mbadde nkomyewa njagala kuddamu nsoma akantu kano nti contravening Mwanga's proclamation would attract a fine of 10 million shillings or 6 months in jail or both. I vividly remember that fearing to face those punitive measures, Mono newspaper where I worked had gone to bed with a deep victory, but hurriedly burnt all copies before taking them to the streets. Kakati awe nsomyewo ne njukira ne chimpa ebiseera ebyo amawulire engeri gye gakolangamu n'ensangi zino engeri gye gakolamu really enjawulo eyo abantu abali mu mawulire bagiraba nti weeri
anti abamawulire bammwe tebasoma
oba tebamanyi byafaayo
tebawula kye bayita
basoma
tebawula kye bayita occupational hazards to be gas with tear gas bakole batya. If you go to Hakave riot, bali badde ba veterans abavudde mu maje but we caught it don't pay money. Wali badde to yina na gwo nabaga nti Bobi Wine yo mulaba alabike munyezi walabako ku Bobi Wine nga yesimula tear gas. Bobi Wine nabeera n'akasawe mabega ne besi yali akayina nga bantu bakategera mbukali mu mazi bulletproof batambulanga na bulletproof. Kakati gwe owamawulire you learn where they have riots batukubye emigo muli bamawulire oyina kikamera kinene yuwe mutaddeko simanyi bino bipress ebikofiira you go and cover irale gandi cover parliament waliwo gwe bakubye wano nga covering parliament but your problem is professional hazard nti muli mu bintu ebya modernity naye ng'empapula zammwe ne radio ne TV tezisobola bikola ki n'obutasoma bwammwe okulowooza nti bw'oyogera nti oli w'amawulire oyina kyofuna hide yourself. Nze nabaga nebayo soup police nejja I don't identify myself bategeera ono bya gwe naffe twabeeranga mu struggle nga kamera bazijjamu exposers ne bazitwala aba police do they want okuba ebintu byo naye oyina ku kamera gunene gulinga omugugu nti ogenda kabalinga riot how right ebeerera smartphone banomba kwata antya how do I catch these people bagenti fit says technology but they cannot believe nti omusajja agenti omusajja nja mu kubisasi oba government jensula yasezala wange ya kitaawe naffe tulina mu stake mu gwanga tulina mu stake you can't fight over lwakitula farm eya family but when it comes to insecurity in government I come out kill me they will kill you but I cannot keep mom sisobola mbabulya ne mbagamba nti mmwe bali abasajja abazungu babatunuulidde ne mbaga nti look here tewaliiwo nti baleeta biteeso mu parliament bye balowooza nti kadaga tajja biisa naye si kituufu. The strategy is anybody who poses a threat nti ayinza okuvuganya obwa president bamukuba ne bamugjawo buli omu bajja musekula olanya atajja balemerera obo tebamuleetanga abazanya amuteeringiyo naye gwe nolowooza nti ye kadaga why should not change stop at one level why tell me what has he done what has Kadaga
naye ebyo byobuuza nga ne Kadaga byabuuza oli timu Kadaga
era bwe bagambye ono bwe yagambye ti uyu musajja yayimirizaawo Kadaga I know what it means yes nange mwanjooga
oli timu Kadaga
kubanga bano ensobi gye bakola
kubanga nzimpulira
bw'okolera gavumenti eno bakwekyusiza Kadaga bamuga wayisa 75 wayisa kino is it bad to support government
anti ne Kadaga agume kubanga ne mu 7 mu government ye waliwo abatamuwagala abatamuwagira kakali Kadaga naye bw'aba alina abatamuwagira sichi pia
milioni 2 mbutusimbe mu migongo kuba mu ballot atuwangula
migongo ejachi
ndio mchikole basajja mwe ejogoli
onobera yo
abasajja ba ani akulimba
ate onobera yo mulozi inakalu
ndiramba buli ne banuwa baliyo banuwa baba gamba mu kikiche se bagambye wana nemaganti akaluka kali process chairman we electoral commission yosanga wa chairman we electoral commission who could nominate a man who is barefooted wamusanga
kakati
where did you find such
Tamale eddobozi lino liganya okuzanya ndigezisa oba yalitaddeko ate simanyi yalije ku simu
encha kajja kuzanya jembeera
yalije ku simu
yalije ku simu atemba kwa saachi ne musajja agenti ngena mu bobbole sasa chairman namugamba mu bobbole
ndoza teyakakyusiza format ndoza
this is my country whether you mbobbola or not. Mirundi is not fighting to come back to government. Mirundi doesn't want a government job. Era manyi ndi ate government jenaleka ateka tisiye no is in a very weak position, so I'm not attracted to come back. I'm just helping you. Oba musaze omukiwe kigenda bakuba mu bantu be bakomezaawo abaana be bajje mu America mulimu abange zinayo mu yesigaddeyo
obota akomewo
ate ntya mwendi ninayo sente ninayo ki mu bikole
ate naye mu Uganda wagamba bana
abayina abadi mu kategole baladi kakati akakaza kalinga empiki kalimesa bugwayini okusula ekiryandongo nga asasudde. The ban applies to DPCs, the ban applies to advisors, the ban applies to ministers.
What advisor?
Satu tebyange nze munange ekifo ky'obwa advisor ne visa y'Omumerika efigire ekifo kyammwe nga n'okutambula mu America and its allies nga muno mufuna muki emiliyoni 1.5 omwezi
kati otambula
kino kinsingira kino
anti kyengamba naye
visa ensingira bino bankwatire wano kubanga olwa miliyoni 1.5 gibanga ku bwa advisor
katugende mawulire ng'oyagala America
America bw'obeera naye mu passport yes bwendwala bwenkola ki bwengera okulaba omwana nge bwenkola ki kino nkita nte kino I'm telling you I'm a honest man. If I'm confronted with the ban and leaving the advisory role just kola na kola mbere no mu America mu passport yange. Yes, this is the safest country, is a country of opportunities. Tuyinza okufuna ne crisis ne tutinganye ku street. I just escape. This one is better. When I compare the two, a presidential advisory role, etaina kerina.
Naye ng'oli advisor.
Erimu n'abatainanga.
Naye ng'oli advisor.
Kitunulira as a channel getting money. Nkafuna yo miliyoni mu kitu.
Ngaba naye nga ku bibiri nga bagambye rondawo kimu. Olonda kiri.
Nene nkugambye ndiwalabye bambise n'okumbira.
Naye kati
bambise n'okumbira ne bangamba the contract bajenyo yango later acceptance go.
Naye kati ate envumbo y'okutambula webe kwata ne ku advisor. Gwoli advisor.
Kati nze minzani kanjigwanike. Bampuli chairman is recording me. Mulaba kusimu wano chairman.
Muhozi wana kugamba
recording me.
Muhozi wana gadirikera okumpana.
Nedda. Alangirye ntayagala.
Muhozi.
Nenze kati ndi volunteer.
Muhozi tayina buyinza bukusirisa.
Museveni bwavaawo. Museveni bwavaawo.
Oli ku Muhozi.
Era nze mbagamba bagenti nze mpagira Kadaga. I know Kadaga's capacity. If Kadaga challenges Museveni over the presidency, I will side with Museveni. We disagree
with Kadaga.
Neto itagamba Tanzania ina mukazi Gondi Kenya mulamuzi mukazi mwe nemujoge nsi yonna omukazi kisacha mwamuma owinye dolo gwe kuba nagwa gundi bagemeire nafuna sabe. What type of gender are you talking about?
Catherine mamgemeire
what gender are you talking about?
Yafuna meka
75 owana mwitanu kwa aliya yambadde wiji kebali ntwala yonja mubete ntamugende gwezizi wacha hiyo wiji yako kwa kichwa
ne results zabo zili
tawa wiji kwa kichwa kichwa yako ugota 45
ukakuja hapa nayo bimulangire omulamuzi wa Supreme Court
nga muti yako omulamuzi tagwedda lunga sibite bwerere omulamuzi musuri delu
kati biriyo lese Tanzania baina president mukazi
yes
Kenya chief justice mukazi
yes
so kati na for noteka kwa speaker mukazi
two women lwacho bwa vice tebabwogerako ambu yeba omenye bwa vice oberanda bana bajozi Chikutegeeza nti Olanyazi abamutembeya tebamutembeya na good face. Ona alowooza mbulanya njaka kubakubira ku social media Mirundi office mbabuulire strategy nti tulina okuleeta ekiteeso bwekiti era ojjukira n'ekyakakoza kyali kya myaka 7. And what you people don't know, let me tell you, if we had term limits and we amended the constitution to not to have term limits, you must explain to Ugandans what situation has changed, because you are abusing the Museveni. You cannot change term limits when Museveni is still around. Term limits muzichusa at the end of Museveni's term. Now that the man we interested with this special arrangement of not having a term limits because of his contribution to this country is retiring, we are now reviewing because we are not sure Kwadaku never do let a term limits of Museveni bujozi bwabwe logikyo nimu asomerachi abamu bayina exaggerated intelligence nze abana abo bwe mbalaba bwenti bonna abo nga nabagasse ne chairman wako bakuba omuntu omu. Once you have a lot of money and you have a poor background reasoning batu mwebaze zijako programs ojakeno jakenga omuntu bagwazi ne bajjawo mutabazi mbono mwala jazijjawo ajikuba beba mukole n'ebyensonyi zo program zikwatakeeza abantu bali bambetenta kati mwakola ki kati ate mudduka mbu mukomewo because you are facing a no. I have no interest in your future plans. In politics we don't carry excess baggage. If I know that I'm not going to be part of your future plans, we decide here. Abantu wenza nokwagana naganti oyi kitange bwasiko oyi muganda nge bwasika wanusidda nekijja ngenda kuzimba kyange kati oyo nze sinza mukkiriza omukulembeze yenna avudde mu group eyo eri criminalized by international criminal court. Maybe kakati katubuuze abasajja bwe babanga babavunaana okutwala organize, what if one of them becomes the president? Tetufuuka dayali farm tebatuyola misana tolaba etteka lye bali balese kana kazi akalinga akalina omuntu okulinga mangata akali kalese teka mbule regulate organize akako muherezi era ke kagende kwa president n'abagamba bategeera nti president is auditing sente za covid kati n'abagamba timugende mu nekadduka n'entwe yoko bilioni 10 baswale zangu musambule kaswale Kasajja gwe kwata kuzino muhange wa mwalizika tampeko yavu Tamale nkolageko kakati owanda mu motoka kulunyo olutalo njakulagako olutalo olabikanga luze mu parliament kati wali entabirawo. Yes. Let's think okulonda genda kwera kwa Monday baina ncha na Sunday okwetegateka Monday ngenda kuba katanga sasa next week on Friday. Yes, in support next week on Friday. And Olanya wouldn't be taken like that. No, me when it comes to that you are giving me a job as a Muganda, I declare in it. I should get a job because I qualify. Because of competence. Yes, competence. Next week on Friday you're going to kuda wano ngatuita speak. Ibarundi. What kata mumulalago no. Umulenzi ne njagala Tamale nyambe. Bamulenzi tukba bujozi. Kusukuba mulenzi no. Ayagala kuwamba parliament. Kiri likely cheyolese cha watu. Nti chambers za speaker eza tamu eneja zija kubeera mu either Kadaga oba Olanya but not both of them. Ati nkulaga Tamale nti not both of them kubanga for the last 10 years tubadde ne Kadaga ne ati bafulutinga mbubaleeto na obubuka bada anyaga etakaliye makere tofa Tamale kakati tugera kwa ne parliament nga either Kadaga is speaker mu parliament toja kutunda n'entebe Kadaga is speaker ne deputy atali Olanya obanga Olanya is speaker ne deputy atali Kadaga Olanya ateka chi mu lutalo why does he black mail this country they have already got get to me kadi chambers tugenda kwa ne chambers nga mulimu either Kadaga oba Olanya but not both of them nabagamba nti and I want to nabaga nti owinye dole ekyamulema kyali kimu kutegeeza Bobi Wine ti omusango ogujjeeyo but court let us review your submission. Tugenda kusala musango. A law is law. It does not depend on the tribe of a judge. It does not mean ntisina yenava buli mulamuzi alina gye yava katulebe gwe muwana ennyo yali minisita wa Museveni Attorney General why did he perform Kadaga knew her role as a member of executive yakiza ne bagoba ba MP as a speaker yes so it depends on how kakati nze nkubulya ne gamba nti this would be a time of reconciliation nti Museveni mulamu Museveni is handling issues insecurity ye mwali mwina temugirabawo abana nabaga nti Nupu is negotiating with the government abana bagenda kubata erola ba force eri munda bwe bajja ne babazaayo kuba muri mu force yagalo kiremezaawo nabagamba nti mu special forces ba plantinga mu abantu bakuba abantu nga bachayise muhozi era bagambi mu special forces yakuba omwana wange zaina ne video oyo yigabe yali atambula nabo mu moto
obere yakuba mwana wa
ajawe muhozi
oba wa special force kubatika
tewali wa kamerawo abana bange family yange yone etambulya ku monitoring because they know him I capture them era kati chairman ya wandis kakati nze nkugamba olwaleero
chairman ba reducing kuandika kukwata program
let me talk like otafire the party has not produced a candidate I have not seen anybody from the opposition. Museveni has not retired, but if the two and bayinza kubanga bo ba munju but take it is and something wrong is going to happen on Museveni katinz of the two mpagiro no openly atebwe envayo minzani ija kwewanika erengenda kwewanika Mirundi wenyingira mu kintu nzikitange yangamba busamira samira nze musajja yogera nti mbirina era umupolisi baba nabawulidde nga bagamba temwenche tubatukola tukwata omuserikali wo mutu mujjewo tuteke wo mupya amubalire sasi ngata mumanyi ate nabano bamutto obujulizi bubule nzira ye wange ekirunga wali omuserikali Kebalese nemugagwa oli abadde we yakoze eki kumacha ne mukwata nemugaga kati olabe diserio omusajja yatudde mu diro mulaba ate nange entonoli ate tufaanagana olabyeko ku mutani wange ayingidde kati kufembeko bako omwesasa olaba kwata namusanze yekiro
Tamale
namusanze yekiro
omulingiza budirisa
nga tuli babiri abafaanagana Mirundi omu ali mu ddira alaba TV Mirundi mulala anyumya naye yakomyewo
yakibulire chairman
yakomyewo
Tamale Mirundi
teriwo
wakati wabadde mu bantu ewakawo
yati wiki babeerawo
bamulasete bagambye nemuteka obutesi ngati yakubalulidde osasi
anti
kwade bakubalula sasi ngati
anti kakati namukambuliriddewo naditeketinze mangu kyono mupya oli mumutaddemu omugisu wange
akumbe waka
aliwa ate nga neyasooka bamugamba nti contract ye yaggwako nze nemusobola kunkola byakagolo namukoze ekintu eki tunula mu ddirisa omu liggule omwani atuddemu ani alaba TV nti ggwe ate kuyogera naye ye ggwe kakati ggwe salawo oba enkya okomawo batokomawo
kubana babiri tako gweyagala omulala akukwata
teyakomyewo akakasajja tewakawulira tunayingira mu motoka yako nekambuuza kati human how did you enter Mike ninga gamba where you started nekatunula kati nalaba bukulu bukankana nekagakanda banga nfuluma nekaje petente ekyo bakatwala mu ddwaliro kansanga ku kitanda nga ntudde
olondola
the money is there
nakoko kakakula
sidi mwazi bana yesino ngenda bajira y'amaanyi gonna ekyokulya mwendi bamalemu okyayina budde
nine dakika 10 zokka zensigazayo njagadde nnyo okuwulira ebirowoozo ku parliament
bagenda Museveni nkugambye parliament muli ono yagisunda owulidde omusajja bwakugambye tetwagala olanya ayitemu tuyina ebiteeso byaffe bitwagala baagala okulimitinga bazawutamuli misinga olisi wa myaka 85 ngeno bakirezi naye Museveni bamukubire mu kaprovision kali kuba basuubira nti ayinza okudda
again nga batidde
yes ono
neighbor agalachi abazino ku president
tuina che tuita shadow over the throne syndrome. Shadow over the throne syndrome omwana tuke kisera nabanga alabuze kitaawe aiza no kwata nyina mukiwatu ngalaba kitaawe taliwo tuchira obulwadde bukwata omuntu tuina bwe tuita behind the throne syndrome noga anti government we tulaberawo and he has a problem bonna bamusinza businza professor mwenye gundi ono ningo yuze kati ligenda ku recording ali twalindira bano ku simu litwala na amasuti gali oyizo kanti obage na mulamuzi atambula ngali dukali twalo lugambe sajje kulu nikola lugambo bali wakola lugambo
yasoma ki
lawyer
wamkwesa lugambo
yagamba Mr. Mirundi, you bag it in my house, come and debug it. Ndi wa masanyalaze niligamba, but this man sees us when we are making it laugh with our yes mbalaba era waliwo wakabina akatona abalala bakamutitanda munda mbaleba.
In conclusion, nsome kitabo kyebayita again at crossroad ndi ku page ya 3 kabalize some statements ngazi hizo. In conclusion, Museveni's age factor does Museveni's age factor is it a threat to country stability? Unlike the civil service, where the age factor is very important, it is not the same with politics. When former US President Bill Clinton was asked about the age difference between him and John McCain's, Clinton implied that what matters are the ideas that the contenders had for America. In fact, in politics, it is widely believed that leaders become more pragmatic in old age. For example, Agakagwawo Museveni signed a death warrant for Haji Sebirumbi and Kassim Obura. But as he grew in age and experience, he started extending generosity by granting prerogative of mercy to the other death row inmates, including Chris Rakasisi and Major Nasur Abdallah. There are numerous examples to illustrate this phenomenon. Let's start with Italy. When the Italian economy was hit by an economic crunch, a Professor Napoleon, at the age of 95, was picked to fix the economy. The man who elevated China from a backward state to a second largest economy in the world, Chairman Mao Zedong, was 82 years old. US President Ronald Reagan ascended to power at the age of 75 and developed the US military to recover from the Vietnam defeat and back to the superpower status. American military became a soft target for terrorists and they had fled from Lebanon. In Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta took over power at the age of 76 and he's credited with laying a foundation for democratic institutions and revamping the economy. In addition, the late Julius Nyerere Kambarage became president in old age. I strongly doubt whether a young Nyerere would have allowed multipartyism and capitalism. The same politics applies to Kenneth Kaunda, who conceded to a humiliating defeat. In Nepal, following the political upheavals that led to the abolition of the Nepalese kingdom, which lasted for over 300 years, a 95-year-old statesman was picked to restore order in the country. Therefore, what matters in democratic countries is not the age factor in leadership. One can ask, what was the intention of the framers to impose a 75-year limit in the constitution? My answer to this is that in the Ugandan's case, the intention of the framers in mind, the intention of the framers had in mind has drastically changed. Uganda has electorate structures that can enable citizens to remove a leader if they detect diminishing returns. This is exactly what happens in other countries. In Britain, for example, Margaret Thatcher was extended by her party immediately. She started suffering diminishing returns. This also applied to former Prime Minister Tony Blair. He gave way to Gordon Brown. The ANC in South Africa removed Mbeki from power because his term had expired, and the same likely to happen to his successor Jacob Zuma, because they did not want a successor to inherit the incumbent's problems. Lastly, changing the age limit will help us to delay the succession battle. The NRM, remember, the NRM almost split over Amama Mbabazi's claim that he had been anointed to succeed Museveni. If we change this problem, it will create political stability because it would be left to the president to retire or seek another term. If we do not safeguard this, we shall plunge the country into unnecessary wrangles and also risk a lame duck president.
the letters and the political purify rivalries, I think, cast a curse for Uganda's law during the term limit debate makers.
Singa president yabadde ina term limits. But successfully where you have term limits, the president becomes a remutaka president. Because the attention is focused on the success.
Chechiri Kenya.
Chechiri Kenya, however much, and Raila wants to put the order, stop politicking, it can't.
It can't.
This is my last and final term. Kakati, you look at ANC. ANC, they drop their presidents before a new election. Unagende nebi.
Nebutswana wachikola.
Yes.
Balindo natero okumala omwaka ogusembayo nebakusibula.
Ono president tufuna stability. Why? If he wants to come back, he comes back. Bamitangani kalasha bwala.
Kalusha bwalya. Coach player wa Chiporoporo.
Yes.
Zambia.
If he wants to come, ye coach a team chi.
Mozambique.
Yes. That's why because of Museveni's presence, tewali excitement mu party over who should. It has erupted in the family, where somebody is saying the signs he is saying is that his group is being alienated from the center. N'abantu babali mu state house bangi bajiddwamu. He says, if I wanted money, nalikiza nengena mu president's office nangabirako. Mirundi is not interested in money. Mirundi is interested in integrity. He says that if I wanted the money, I would have accepted a job in a new vision. Not at all. If I abused everybody, then what was the essence of taking me to president's office? A reject is a reject. I tell you, Charlie. And two, when I told you the fellowship, until undermining Museveni, because Museveni is suffering from service delivery, invading the economy. Akugambye nti sente tubadde tuzijja from Kisimite to the president. Nemubeza amasanyalaze, nemuleta emiti emifu, nemuleta generators enfu, nemuleta ki, nemuwamba ennyanja, nemuwamba taxi, nemuwamba bus. Yes, I quarreled with the Kutesa as he says. Nti ne Kutesa yamuvumako kati gwali naye. Over buses era yazita. Ati zali zize. Nabaga nti a bus transport newafa muno za mulema. Two, phase out to the Kamunyezi. Ngaka katika Jeno Katumba yawunye. Bino byazanyemu n'aba taxi bamuzanye game. Byazanyemu n'aba boda boda. You cannot regulate enjaga. When the Bazungu wanted to regulate walaji, bakola district walaji, as opposed to the Mandule Yamu. Kakati boda, you cannot regulate a boda is an illegal transport means. It only indicates that you have a problem in your economy. Nti abana chibasobola okwekolera kugulayo kutunda poloti na agulachi abana bafugira bagaga kati kwe katumba chobola mwaba kubanga enkyabona yira era bakoma wenkeera kubanga zibakolawo zebakola ki kati kwe katumba bwolagira decision namugwanya naye kukuma namugwanya kuba namugwanya akolagana nabano ne katumba is a potential yo muvunza ngabe bakuba kadaga bakuba muhozi bakubani whoever they perceive to challenge them in the future
nekatumba nekati bamulabaga
threat ukati kamba budi nzemba gamba let Museveni, President Museveni, give me this assignment enjaji mukoliyanga siri mu government because I cannot be part of government again manyi network ya basola no kutaba babana but determined kakati nkugamba I can solve this transport and congestion problem. One, you start with the vehicles as a taxi ezalemera mu magalaji. COVID we yajja, the president's statements created an impression taxis zikyaddamu. Kakati abasajja taxi ezalemera mu galaji mpitirivu nnyo ezalina kuteeka mu mupiira ezitosobola kukola ki talina bukadde butaano bugezaawo mmotoka eyo bayita zeramusaako ojiwe buguma oba ene gundi milling company tandika nezo ezalemerayo you fix the price gate ekibanda ye bajja mubba emmotoka olyoka ogambe nti ezo zemuyita gundi eziweddeko gundi kubanga abazungu bagezi abajapani kati mmotoka zino ezakamunyeza bulijjo tezikyajja ezo bazivuddeko mu myaka ebiri Kenya twagenda yo ne bawera kamunye ziri mu Uganda 14 city Kenya teriyo bazibba wano nze nabawunyanga babbezange nendito mu bidisco wano ngenjuki mulemedde mu nyindo nagule motokezi nenkadde nagireeta ne sente zange ngenda obuze Kasinji musajja yabbye motoka 13 mu East Africa wano yakwata eyange ne mulagako neze wano mutwali bunatambulanga nego ne sanda nega mutwali bunja mukwata mutwali busamukwata
yaje no musota mbulago
samu je ewabwe mbale esironko ngajide kumbwa embwa yajange ebugula bwera betala bo yatukira kalero wali okuva embale tamanchi yajira ko yaga nti mbwa ya mayembe kati
mbwa ya mayembe
bwatuka wano kalero na ali bwerere nze nabbe motoka ya Mirundi
nze musota mbamsanga mu kabiri
nze namugulira engoye
omusota gwamsanga mu toilet
yagenda mu toilet nga alidde emputa ine kumwezinga mu bulago yagira kumbwa
embwa yali wao ku toilet
anti yagamba banne ndi ekisolo kye yagira kyajanga kibakola ngembwa kali zemba gamba
tidize besirongo
these people panicking over
embwa solo ku besirongo ne tukakale
the president has handled the domestic issue properly. We are going to have peace. Ababana kasaba batani bwe bawaba. Two, fill the vacant important posts. You cannot have a country without a human rights commission, and nobody is talking about it. This is an auditor, an internal auditor of government, as far as human rights are concerned. Declare that all of safe houses have been abolished, and here's money with it.
Kono kandiziwe do olili kanti yawa
jeriwa bezitulage zino ziri misused kaka yasekanga mu bantu bakuli akosende sobinazonu na civilization wali wono mulaba muita joko bebakwatanga abantu bakwata kibe bazita. Otherwise safe houses have been part of the police since colonial times. Kakati the last second Museveni yalina okukola bani singa bamuwadde stability cabinet tugitunulite obazamu abafu obazamu ababbi nga bambulaka meringa oba ateekamu abali ku international criminal court ye yamanyi but the parliament is going to have yegendo kuwa abantu hope. Let me tell you, I don't mind about European funding babadde babanzibe. That's why you have accumulated the loans which we don't see. Bahati Kasajja, where is it? Where is the impact of this huge loans you have constructed for this country? Sente babanzibe.
Koma ebanja dene
tetulaba what does it mean? What it means kitegeeza nti sente Uganda zekozesa za intano ki collections za muliveni
batu banje za mabanja zibabba
bazi kula ya mayumba gabwe bagakwatidde bafati bwalinye mu America ne Kasajja babalitanga bapusi babalitanga babbiba kusinga makoti nagamba kamundi bahati nti empale ekoti elisigala ambalala empale kabali aliyingira lwali mwanda weya Kasajja okufuluma Kampala aligendera mu coffin abantu omukwatira ono banyigiriza emisolo nijibe emisolo nga sente tewali. Where is the impact of this man? Kakati nkugamba the moment the president ensures nti every coin collected goes to the service delivery taina buzibu sente zabazo fetumanyi I know where you see that the money the bazungu money has worked. Bazungu money goes through non-government organizations. If you go to Kenya, most of the MPs in Kenya who have been brought up in politics by the non-government organizations. Kuba government said delivery yafa. Ekikutegeeza nti sente za Museveni zezikola mu Uganda. Baba sente za COVID za Museveni. Baba sente zenzige za Museveni. Baba sente za mata za Museveni. Baba sente zemmere za Museveni. Akakasajja kagambye nayingira mu Bank of Uganda neziba mu 5 billion. Yali azintumye Museveni yamukwatako. Teyakwata kunze nazinsesemya. Naye oliko yali azibyeko yamukwatako. Kakati if this money if Museveni ensures that the money collected from Uganda Revenue Authority goes to where it is needed, nga ababbi abayodde nga ababbi abakutteko bana bapanikingira bwerere, he will have a comfortable term of 5 years, and Museveni needs this term more than anything before. Why? This is when he must prepare his retirement. I know retiring in a conducive environment to blackmail the new leader. The new leader wajja nasanga nga buli kintu kyonna kifu yene bwakola wakatone nnyo abantu bagandi new leader is going to touch oil money. We will change this country fundamentally. So therefore, adinaga mafuta gafe baizo ugadikiralinga blood wound. Era ndi mutu fana send. So the emphasis should be to ensure that every coin collected is put to those who steal our money to bakubama yinjo to bakubama dukane entweza abo bako paka ya Rwanda. Geno paka.
Yazimbe jibaita Korea njola bulwale.
Ne bana abo munose Korea. Jajjabo. Yali geno. Gende Pakistan bani buto bamwanika kalaba mwalawe teyaja genda India India bagandi babera ko nina mwandu soniyo mu Italy ngati ne mu Gandhi yakati bayina Gandhi ko batunulira so yene policy why should
Trump yawangula ko muzukuru wa Bush Jeb yali amwesinje ngagala kujja
hauko
ko Bush oli Bush omulala yali ajja
ereta Bush senior ne Bush ki
ne Bush omulala yali ajja
the family dominated a constituency for 45 years nga yabwe ba Kennedy bamaze kugwawo. So politics is a name and the money. If my father performs
so catchment area number 1 your first family
yes
okuteka
you must get somebody who is appealable. 2 that man must be disciplined to ensure balibe basoko okuvetinga ewo bayino obujozi ngojo kanka tubalaba wo tubayinza kuwa
catchment area number 1 catchment area number 2
because a president cannot allow somebody to succeed him if he can create his own political base within a very short time or if he does not attribute his success to him ajaganti afuta lolo nali sina manyi gange sali mugaga sasoma kubitabo byawandika kakati okubiri
ngekyali kize e Burundi nti lwa Nkuruziza kufa naye okuleeta Ndayishimiye Evarist baali bamuwadde n'ekifo mu constitution nga bakita supreme guide bagenda muwa sente bweziti atule wali awule akola atya agaidinga yambe simanyi bayafa mutwa
bayagala twasasi ogenze gendera ddala
simanyi bayanyo mutwa yafanze kimanyi nti yafa mutima
biyo wa Cameroon yali president bamwitanga hijo nga bia vice president wa hijo bia nakolaga na doketa mu Faransa namuga nti omutima gukuba bubinyo bomala kuba president omwezo ofana abuta bagenda mukebelanga mulamuteke naye agala okudda bia namukuba mukomera so tricks tuzita Paris schools but another area is the party a party can produce in Tanzania. You can at 35 years you could even influence the opposition ngabu wagamba wan ti abava mu opposition manya abava mu chama cha mapinduzi bebalagawa kuba be bayina yes kakati a party opposition a party a family member and a gundi an independent man ke gundi kakati ba peloti bani mu America batandise okujja lwaki muka Clinton yajja nkono ajavuganye nga bayavuganye. Politics is a name and the money and the contribution of you rely on the shoulders and the contribution of your parents. Yes, uli mutabani wani.
Parliament inzo okutuyamba okushaping succession.
Anti kakati boche banu.
Nenda mbuza kati opinion yo. Opinion yo nga political scientist.
Ayagala mugema na mulangiriranga uwe.
Kakati tuve koli.
Ayagala chief justice na mulangiriranga anti uwe.
Naye okusinzira ku okusinzira ku gwe.
The man is selfish.
Olabanga parliament esobola okutuyamba okushaping succession
story. The moment Museveni
tubakoli yagalizoranya
tibitiriyo Museveni consult an idea emerges from once negena museke negena mu party. If this time comes, that's why I'm telling him, you boyise wonyo chikwete yali ayagala nnyo nyeri namuga nti jana wacha speed wacha
yali ayagala kusoka mukapa gundi namtekateka
gundi so yina mpisa gundi tula bamutekateka population can even scare the population
batekateka mtekete
yes
bamutekateka
najjo oluvanyuma bage mu muzeeyi akaddiye agenge mzee akadde
naffe tukadde
mulaba
ninga bwe nali 10 years ago
nekiwandika ko wano kabasomera
tugenda kasoma kanonga tukomyewo nga tuvudde birango naye njagala okulaga Tamale parliament yateekeza
nze it is clear obwa president kintu kinene. I also have interest to pursue in this country. That's why the interest is zange. Even if you kill me, you cannot force me to support your project by coercion. You had the authority to chase me from State House. Wali wasezala. Neno omutwe gwange oguno abemmengo bibagamba. Obato ompagi, obato tuwagere sese kuba omutwe no omutwe gwa. No omutwe gwa gumba. Katonda emitoti jija mmengo. That's why I disagreed with these Mengo people. Atawagera bya fast jango byogere wange benyondo mutwe. Two, kakati so far otafire bamubuza nti kugenda kuwagira ndi mukalulu ko president naganti bayo tafire ali fun yabaganti that is a stupid question. So far I've seen one candidate umanyiti besi declared yali nominated before Museveni yagakati njogere kwani this one candidate
mani yali nominated before Museveni
anti party ya mulonda before.
Okay.
FDC did everything launching a manifesto kuba babibeno zina babulira tosobola kukola bantu nkaga kukolera manifesto basima golinga ebintu okujja kongo bakutudde muntu guwandika economy guwandika kuchi kati ebintu bya Museveni babisima golinga ali uno najakola ki najafulumya manifesto
FDC yakopa NRA
tuweza kudira bantu bajifura profit. This is a task force to write a manifesto. See abantu wana, do you know Mosei has appointed me to sit on his manifesto. Nogendo ngala byale
jabulijo okulo na manto milioni ana omuntu ndaba ina
kwa sana professor president yamuganti write a paper for me ekwata ku 1966 crisis. I'm going to address my soldiers at Chimaka najiwandika yamusanga wonga atudde ku bench ezo maaso teyakisoma ebijja mu mutwe we
bino professor byamuwandikira
ebisoma
era 66
nemubuuza ne Kasajja gwina amagezi oba president I wanted to guide him
nga presenting I'm government not your excellency Tamale
I'm telling you
Tamale nedda
I'm telling you
taliyo
akutoka kubaka nimbirero babikola
yatula mu congregation
mu conference center
agame president
nasoma ekintu kwa economy exactly as we did it ngala bizabu sejembe because they want to be ndena mulagira era gundi yo kyechamusu manya kyasula yona gundi kyeyune bwe yatudanga ne president ku mukolo ngasebo bwe nakusaba kino no kikola ne nkusaba wekiso sije kyamusula
ngire kyeyune
era sebo ngaba nakusaba kino no kikola ne nkusaba kino no kikola na kino nkusaba ukikole. That's the president rely on you on your ideas. You would even be happy that what you said
echikiriza
is included, but you don't go and
ulichiwandika mu kitabo kyonga president yafuze ko no gandi namusaba kyo
lekyo nti baleni ni bitabo ebyo nabe babiwandikanga. Where could they get time? Somebody can assign you, but it does not mean kiwanika omukono. Seba a settlement siwe yabadde bwetyo ndoza abawandisi bo agikyusira
nolingana kiringa ngaba nagamba okukyogera sebo n'okyogera asuuliriza kwatira kawe sawe eminence
n'omugamba kakati guli musajja mugezi. What if eminence tells you to write a paper?
bwana ngo kujipresenting ngati
awusube watufa
era batu nebe eminence kanokera bi de fact
you know that for me I don't read. Why? I don't read the speeches. Bakugamba nti professor developed a theory nga agenda defending mu every university. Kakati driver we nabikulaminga baba genda ku university munamugamba let me act as a professor, you as a driver kulagenda nange ndi mugezi. Kakati na yali abikulaminze sebo nayogera naye omuvubuka omunamubuuza ekibuuzo ekiri difficult away from his capacity. Driver yagamba that is a very simple question, let me call my driver to answer it. He called the professor. Kakati nito kusanga nge ekintu omuntu
Njejibuza changu nyecho Tamale na Professor Budde dereva ya kisobola
chicha dereva wange
ka dereva kaje
dereva je
kumbe baswitchinze roles
this is a professor kakati
Tamale kwatira kawo balo kujebira ngo ino mukoti komesa weriemu abatuliza njagala okulamisa ku mama wange Rebecca Mugote ngo ambassador we Ethiopia ne Djibouti kwali kati awuliriza era wajana nganja Tamale mundabire kwali akuwuliriza era mutumide amchagala ngona mu lwalero mama Rebecca Mugote ngo
gutwabadde ne mawo
nzikiriza Tamale
people listen to me abategeredde dala uyu musajja wa Museveni
nzikiriza tukomo
ya abantu basimba n'ebitooke ne bakola kiwaye era ko nakawulidde akasajja ko ngakagamba kuba kali double aged for me when I'm presenting myself I give myself a room